Hey everybody, it's Melanie the Strange, back with another episode of Unpopular Opinions. Today we're going to be doing my Lion King movie review and the album review that Beyonce came out with, the supplemental album. Yeah, I have thoughts. I definitely have thoughts, and I'm really happy to be able to do this one right here. This is going to be my Disney week, you know. I'm really excited I'm actually going to Disneyland this weekend, and I'm super hyped about that. Get to see all the new stuff that they have there. I'm definitely a Disney fanatic, especially with the superheroes, because, you know, Marvel was purchased by Disney some time ago. But yeah, I really want to get into this review and tell you guys what I think about everything and how it all played out. So I want to thank everybody for continuing to tune in and, you know, keep following me on all the social media. And yeah, let's talk about Lion King. All right, everyone, I'm back again with another episode of Unpopular Opinions. This episode is about the Lion King, the album, the reboot film that was recently released by Disney. Directed by Jon Favreau, who, you know, he previously did the Jungle Book, the live action Jungle Book movie, and before then people probably remember him more so as an actor, but he also pretty much kicked off the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was the first director. He actually did Iron Man 1 and 2. I don't know if he directed the third one. But yeah, like he directed it and he was a part of it. He was Tony Stark's driver, the big weird dude. You can still see him in like Far From Home and all these other kinds of things if you're really into the Marvel movies and whatnot. But he directed this Lion King reboot. Of course, it had a star-studded cast. Of course, you know, they were able to get James Earl Jones back into it, which was really, really cool. And you know, he's been such a prolific actor for the last, I'm sure, 40, 50 years, maybe more, you know. So to get him back onto this project or into the Lion King arena, playing his signature role as Mufasa was pretty cool. But let me just jump back for a second. So when I first heard about Disney doing these live action remakes, back in 2012 or something like that, when they started to announce that they wanted to do Cinderella and Snow White and all of these different things, the first thing I jumped to is, are they going to do Princess and the Frog? Because I would love to see that if they did it right. And are they going to do something like Lion King? You know, because let's be honest, it's talking animals, you know what I'm saying? And the original film came out in 1994, so that was 25 years ago, something like that. So it's like, you know, of course there's going to be a whole new generation that's starting to get familiar with these characters all over again. So I was actually talking to someone the other day. This is a lot of younger people's first interaction or experience with the Lion King. Because it was all like devastating for anyone who grew up in the 90s to see Mufasa flying off that cliff, you know. That was crazy. That was wild. But it was so beautifully done. The original film was so beautifully done. And the voice actors, everyone did exactly what they needed to do. It was just so fascinating. The original cast was Matthew Broderick. You know him from like Inspector Gadget and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, for those of you who are older. He was actually the voice of Simba, adult Simba, in the original Lion King. And now you have Donald Glover playing Simba, which was super cool to get into. And I love him as a voice actor. I really enjoy Donald Glover as a voice actor because it feels like comfortable for him. You know, I remember him being on Adventure Time and doing his little tidbit parts were really, really cool. And it was just so fascinating to hear him be cast as Simba and to know he's going to sing and all of those things, which are so natural to him. He's multi-talented, and I'm glad they chose some of the people that they did. Also, in saying that, but also in saying that, some of the casting wasn't that great. Like, I was familiar with pretty much everyone who was cast, and I think they did a great job. Even casting Beyonce, she has a super deep voice, so I think Nala was great for her. You know what I'm saying? But she had a really thick accent. I want her to get a dialect coach. Like, you're not above getting help. Like, I don't know. I can never take her seriously in pretty much any film. Especially after seeing her, do all the other stuff that she's done, like Goldmember. Like, you're not convincing as an actress to me. So there's that. I was pretty much okay with a lot of the people that they had cast to play these parts. The only thing I was concerned about was, in the film in general, was were they going to stick to originality? And if they weren't going to stick to the original script or the original film, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to, make it different and make it feel like it's a Disney movie? Ultimately, I felt like it was lacking, that a lot of the little Disney nuances were gone, especially coming from the casting. I was okay with the guy who played Scar, Chiwetel Ejiofor. I believe that's how you say his name. He's an amazing actor. He sings very well, but his part singing Be Prepared, which was Scar's really big song, it was kind of a sing-talky type thing, and I was disappointed because this actor, Chiwetel Ejiofor, he can sing. He can, really do that. And I was like, I'm really into voice acting and stuff like that. Super nerdy. I don't really care. But if nothing else, you could have, laid the previous vocals from the first movie onto, this character. But it was so slowed down, and it didn't feel as powerful as it should have, especially coming from Scar. That was such a menacing character for a lot of us in the 90s. And I just felt like his song was lacking. I wasn't really happy with the person they cast to do Zazu. Rowan Atkinson in the 1994 film was absolutely amazing. You might know him as Mr. Bean or Johnny English or something like that. He's actually very talented, and he was, really good with his character as Zazu in the 94 film. So to have John Oliver come into this part, it was like you're kind of just picking weird-looking British people that kind of sound refined to be Zazu. And it was like, yeah, that's fine. But also, Zazu had a little pizzazz. He was kind of sassy, and that was something I was really looking forward to that you didn't quite see in the film. Yeah, like some of the tidbit parts, I was following, the casting of this movie and all the different things that were taking place, in regards to the movie, and, people were joking that they wanted the Migos to play the hyenas. That kind of would have been funny, you know what I'm saying? If you had some people who were barely intelligible say anything in a Lion King movie, that would have made sense because hyenas are weird like that. But I was okay with, I can't pronounce her last name, Florence Kasumba, I believe that is. She's just very calm, and it wasn't reminiscent of anything Whoopi Goldberg did, because she too, that character was also sassy and pretty straightforward. I couldn't really tell where this new Shenzi hyena character was coming from, but I love that actress, which is probably going to be the thing you hear a lot from me at this point. But yeah, like they cast Eric Andre as like the third hyena, which was really weird because his voice kind of blended in with Keegan-Michael Key's, and I wasn't impressed, mainly because Eric Andre is crazy, and I'm sure they had to tame him for this, but at the same time, I'm just not interested in anything by him. I will say the movie, it did its best to do some of the things that were reminiscent of. I mean, I think the big thing we were all looking forward to was the Can You Feel the Love Tonight scene, famously written by Elton John and performed by Elton John. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the song got, Oscars or Grammys. It got something. It was very, very popular. So that whole scene in the 94 film, it was just so beautiful and magnificent, and it really felt outlandish and really otherworldly. It transported you to Africa and the beautiful jungles and the scenery, and you actually felt that this was a pivotal moment in the film. And in this movie, first of all, the whole scene was during the day. I don't care. That's not something I really want to see. I want to see a more vivid interpretation of what the animated film was. And it was during the day, and then on top of that, Donald Glover, he did his job. He did great. He sang beautifully. But also, Beyonce, we all love you, but you're doing too much. All the inflections and all the runs, and we got it. You can hit all the notes. We got it, but that's not the time and the place to hit this iconic song, and it's really just her going off. Which is a perfect segue into talking about the Lion King album that Beyonce created, and I believe she executive produced, and all of these different things. The album is called The Lion King, A Gift, and it's basically a tribute to all things Africa and the African diaspora of the African people, African American people, and it was really just a love letter to what really inspired the original film and this current film, was that, took place in Africa, and it was beautiful. However, her album, I think the main reason Disney released this reboot of The Lion King with Jon Favreau, who I feel is a very, he's not a very good director, and I think that's where the movie fell flat, because this is his second time doing a live action film with animals, and it was based on, all these, you give him too many chances to do things. So I think just in case, he did create such a disaster, they had Beyonce, or she, probably told them, hey, I want to do this album, I want to make this music, which is great, because Beyonce is going to put a lot of effort and energy into anything she does musically, and that was actually really great. And to hear the different songs that she had come up with, to hear the different avenues and the different perspectives of the Black people, of the African people, and to include, African producers and artists and Black artists, and, that was something that was really cool to see. It was definitely really good. I wasn't convinced about hearing pretty much half of it. I wasn't into it because I just don't care. I mean, Beyonce is a cyborg sometimes, so you're kind of too talented. I can't handle it all the time. It doesn't mean I don't respect what she does, but it feels like a lot. It's fairly overwhelming. But yeah, her first single, Spirit, I listened to it and I watched the video, and of course it's beautiful, and she's not missing a beat with any of the things that she's saying and doing. It was so well done and so well crafted, so I'm not upset about that. I actually put on Twitter that this is essentially Beyonce's gospel album. This is as close as we're going to get to her singing, Lord Jesus, any of those things, because I believe we all know that she is religious based. I don't know how serious it is, but She definitely tries to incorporate some aspects of those things in her music. I'm not sure from what perspective. It could be a Kanye West perspective where she feels that she is God, or maybe she actually believes in God. I don't know, whatever. But as someone who grew up in Christianity and is very familiar with a lot of the things that kind of go along with it, I listened to her song Spirit, and it was essentially a gospel song. I feel like it's going to be like a whole Kanye West thing circa 2004 2005 with the Jesus Walks thing. Like, Beyonce could possibly win a Grammy or a BET award or whatever it is as best gospel song, with this Spirit jam. Because if you really pay attention to the lyrics, she's not saying Holy Spirit as in the God above or anything like that, but the song Spirit is reminiscent of that. And what really kicked it off for me was towards the climax of the song. She says something along the lines like, become in tune with the great I am, which is another identity or another saying to refer to God within the Christian religion. And I was like, whether she wrote it or somebody else wrote it or whatever the case may be, you're definitely trying to incorporate different genres into your repertoire. And I'm not mad at her. I don't have anything negative to say about it, but it's starting to feel kind of definitely contrived, definitely kind of a forced thing. I think especially with her last album, Lemonade, it was such an uproar about some of her songs being nominated in different categories that she wasn't necessarily normally nominated in. For example, her song Don't Hurt Yourself with Jack White from the White Stripes, that was actually nominated Best Rock Song, I believe. And the last year's Grammys or the year before, I'm not quite sure. But also in that same vein, from that same album, she had Daddy Lessons, which was on her Lemonade album, that definitely was reminiscent of country songs and the country genre. And of course, she performed at the CMAs with the Dixie Chicks. And of course, people were really upset about that, and they didn't really like the way that was playing out. But I definitely think that she's trying to hit all of these different genres and become so broad, but it seems very apparent. Like, we notice that you're doing these things now. So I don't know. It's definitely weird. This album, this Lion King album, the songs itself were well crafted. I wasn't really interested in the interludes, mainly because as someone who listens to music and listens to sound often, or as much as I possibly can, the interludes had poor audio quality, which kind of diminished the album itself. And that was unfortunate, mainly because you have someone like James Earl Jones, with his great voice and oratory skills. He's doing this monologue, and it kind of just sounds bad. Like they didn't record it well, or they didn't mix it, whatever it was. It didn't sound in sync with the rest of the project that you could tell Beyonce kind of handcrafted herself. So I definitely think they were pulling like audio from the movie, or they didn't give her the stems or whatever it was. It wasn't quite the same level of audio perfection that you're used to getting from Beyonce. So that was really weird. But all in all, I did enjoy the album. I did like a few songs. Yeah, the amount of times they're putting Blue Ivy on a song is getting to be weird too. Not weird like it's wrong, but I don't know. It feels like they're kind of guiding her into the industry at this point. It's like, oh, we're not going to make you Northwest, where you're putting on makeup and you're like 4 years old, and you can do it better than most people. But we're going to have Blue Ivy crying on a song. We're going to have Blue Ivy, rapping on a song, and she's not talking about anything but goo goo gaga. Like, it's starting to get, like, we get it. We get it. Include your daughter and include that. But I will say I was happy to hear Blue Ivy singing on the song Brown Skin Girls. I believe that's the name of it. And even in that, there's a lot of controversy because people don't really understand the interpretation of what it means to be a brown skinned girl. But also, I liked hearing Blue Ivy on it, mainly because when she was a baby, she got so much hate. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a child, and people were looking at her crazy and, all these other kinds of things, making all of these terrible jokes. And really just talking about her hair, how Beyonce let her daughter wear her natural hair and it looked unkempt according to some people, and I think that was pretty wrong. So to put her on this album singing, even though she's not like, she's not taking in her mama's footsteps just yet with her voice, but she is definitely important and vital to this song, and letting other women, other black women, other darker skinned women know that it's okay to love yourself and to be okay with the way you look, because of course of racism, but also within the black and African diaspora, there's colorism, like light skin versus dark skin, because that was ingrained into our minds for so long, and it's still very much an issue. So to hear that song, I definitely understand what Beyonce was going for and how she wanted to reach people and what she wanted to say. So I was cool with that. That was cool, So all in all, I guess the movie was okay. It was okay, but I'll be honest, I was kind of mad that I paid for it. I was kind of mad that I paid to go see that, because that's not something I wanted to do. I am very cheap, so I'm okay with that as well. But also, I listened to the album before I went to see the movie, and the album was okay. It was all right. I understood what Beyonce was trying to do because she has such a large platform, as a black woman, as one of probably the most recognizable female celebrities right now. Also, growing and coming into her blackness and really spreading that with everyone else, and being able to do that on, like I said, such a large platform within Disney, in conjunction with one of their signature iconic films. So that was really, really great to experience and really great to see. I enjoyed it. It was good. Will I listen to it over and over? It's probably not going to be in my likes, but it was good. I'm okay with it. All in all, yeah, if you are truly interested in supporting The Lion King and Disney and really want to get that movie across the $1 billion mark, as it's already done, the animated series is already done. If you're really interested in supporting The Lion King and the whole franchise that it has, I would definitely recommend, you can go see it. Like, check it out. It is pretty cool to see. There are little, like I said, Disney nuances that aren't quite there, but it's definitely nostalgic and remembering where you were as a kid when you watched this movie for the first time, or how it became one of your favorites, or how you came to hate it, or how it traumatized you, whatever the case may be. It's definitely a movie everyone should see. It's very lighthearted. It is Disney. But like I said, I think it fell flat, and ultimately I think it fell flat because the director is terrible. That's it. Like, that's all I can say. He's not an awful director. I just don't think he's very good with these live action animated films. So I think that was ultimately the thing that kind of took it down a notch. But what can I say? You know, we're getting these movies, and we're getting at them at a time where having a pretty much predominantly black cast, and you know, you had Pharrell working with Hans Zimmer, who is, you know, one of the most prolific film composers out there. Pharrell was doing this Lion King score that was pretty cool, you know, and then to have Beyonce have that supplementary album was definitely a pivotal moment. It was life-changing. It's definitely historic is what it is. But also you have to remember that this isn't the first time that Disney or Marvel has done something like this. I think one of the more recent times that you've seen this kind of combination of a mainstream artist working alongside a composer, it really just harkens back to Black Panther that came out last year. They also had the score. They had the score with Ludwig Göransson, and Kendrick Lamar did the supplementary album that went along with Black Panther. Not all of the songs, I think there were a handful that were actually put into the film, but it was just kind of a supplementary album to get people hyped and excited for the Black Panther movie. And I remember that the album that Kendrick Lamar did was so big and it was so well received that I definitely think that Disney wanted to recreate that magic that they had, mainly because the score for Black Panther won an Oscar, and everyone assumed that the film itself would win an Oscar because it was such a turning point in film and media and TV and all of those things. And so, yeah, if you want to see the movie, go out and see it. It's pretty cool. Go see it on like a Tuesday. It's not necessary to see it on the weekend, you know, like after work in the middle of the day, take a sick day, something like that. But be mindful that it is summer, and so kids will still be out. Anywho, I'm just going to wrap it up right here. If you guys are really interested in commenting, tell me your favorite Lion King story. You know, what song were you really looking forward to hear from? Did you sing in the theater? Give me your experience if you've already seen it. Hit me up on Instagram, Twitter. If you know me on Facebook, find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TheMellanyD. That's the Melanie D. Yeah, just get in contact with me. I really want to hear everyone's perspective on how the industry is going. What are you thinking about these live action reboots, and how do you feel about it? Is it cool? Is it weird? Is it dorky? So yeah, just hit me up about that. Also, I'm going to switch doing my podcast to every other week, not every week, just because it's a little tough on me. I have other things going on, but this is very much a priority for me. So if you're really interested in hearing more of it, go ahead and let me know. I want to get feedback from you guys as much as possible. But yeah, so it won't be next week, but probably the week after. And who knows what the topic's going to be. Maybe it'll be, you know, an album review, another album review. Maybe it'll be, you know, a movie review. Maybe it'll be talking about millennials. Maybe we'll be talking about whatever it is going on. But definitely hit me up, you guys. Let me know what's going on. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.